and good evening to you and your family. Guys, I'm Mac again. I'm right here in Lexington, Mississippi, and I want to thank you for coming to me tonight for another segment of On the Road with the SPRA. Boy, the Southeastern Professional Rodeo Association has been on fire this year. I think almost every single weekend we've had multiple events available for the cowboys and cowgirls to earn that extra money. Available for the rodeo fans, for all of your families to catch wild and western rodeo action. And we started off all with God, family, and country. The last weekend of May took us back across that Peach State line with Oubre Rodeo Company and Mr. Bubba Oubre to a little town called Fairburn, Georgia. This is your 2021 Chattahooche Hills Pro Rodeo. Now, Mr. Bubba, he reached out the long arm of opportunity. He offered it to my man over in Holly Pond, Alabama, to come command the mic. Mr. Adam Gibbs is a horseback announcer. His wife, Jennifer, runs sound for him most of the time. Boy, they are a team like no other. Their little boy, Lincoln, travels up and down the road with them, exemplifying that family lifestyle of rodeo, and he's just as nice out of the arena and in front of the mic as he is good behind it. I'm proud to call him my friend. He teamed up with the fabulous Mr. Trent McFarland, multiple-time SPFR funny man from down there in Montgomery, Alabama, or right around that area. He and his wife, Wendy, their two little boys, Ryder and Cody, going up and down the road week after week, just promoting that Western way of life and letting everybody see how the other half lives. Trent, he can make you laugh just by walking across the arena, and I love working with that guy right there. Well, we kicked it off with a little bareback bronc riding. If you heard me talk about Hiwassee, Georgia, you heard the name Mr. Max Smith. He's your 2020 SPFR average champion. He showed up and showed out in Hiwassee with the win. He comes back over to Fairburn, Georgia. He does the same thing. The Saraland, Alabama Cowboy claims the victory with 79 championship points on the ride. We're going to switch gears just a little bit. We're going to stay there in the pulsating action of the bucking chutes, but we're going to put a little saddle on the back of that bronc. This is the classic event of rodeo, your saddle bronc riding. Now that saddle bronc saddle wasn't always like it is. It doesn't have a horn for a reason. Mainly, you don't need it, but most importantly, I promise you, you do not want it. A man named Mr. Earl Bascom invented that saddle and took the horn off of it in 1924. Mr. Earl goes down in history as the inventor of modern-day rodeo, and that is your history lesson for the day. Here's how the action shook out in the saddle bronc over in Fairburn, Georgia. The Volunteer State Cowboy, the Bronc Stomper, the former SPRA champion, Mr. Eddie Parlier. He posts up 74 points to go get a second-place check at the pay window. And then the red-headed cowboy from extreme North Mississippi, our ginger Bronc Stomper, the Renzi, Mississippi man, Mr. Cody Reinhardt. That cowboy has seen a lot of success on the world stage over the last year. He says, give me 79 points and I'm going to claim victory. Yeah. Good ride to you, cowboy. I look forward to seeing you up and down the road. Next, we go to the pretty cowgirls, breaking ropes and away from the saddle horn, roping necks and cashing checks in the breakaway roping. This event is like the exact same, except it's completely different than the tie-down calf roping. It's the same because you got the same horse, the same predetermined head start, you got the same calf. It's different because you have cowgirls rather than cowboys. They don't have to get off the horses. All they have to do is break the rope away and get a clean time for your breakaway roping.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
Let me tell you something about the little cowgirl that toppled out on top. Guys, she's only 16 years old. I've had the opportunity to introduce this cowgirl from the peach state of Georgia all the way out to the fabulous Lazy E there in Guthrie, Oklahoma. She's made her way to Philadelphia, Mississippi to the SPFR, qualifying an impressive 3 times. She's won rounds. She rides a little horse she calls Scoot, and he's definitely earned his name. I'm talking about Miss Maylee Wade, the cowgirl from White, Georgia. Now, she's going to be my featured ride for the week. Let me show you what I'm talking about right here. The horse's name is Scoot, the little sorrel horse. Watch him. Son, talk about chasing the calf away. Boo-jow. Let's watch it again. Bam! Yeah, son, that cowgirl captivates the win with a 3.9 second run. We say congratulations to Miss Maylee Wade. You are an asset to the Western Way of Life, the Family Lifestyle Rodeo. We're proud to have you here in the SPRA. We talked about the cowgirls. Let's talk about some hard-headed cowboys. This event right here has more moves in it than any other event in rodeo. This is your tie-down calf roping. Mr. Parker Otero, that cowboy plows forward to a number 12 position in the SPRA standings with a 12.5 that takes him to the pay window for a 3rd place check. Then my man from up in Cedartown, Georgia, number 3 in the standings right now, Mr. Glenn Friels. He exemplifies greatness. Man, he is so consistent and has been that way for a long time. He and his wife, Ashley, some of my faves going up and down the road. He answers the challenge with an 11.7 that earns him a 2nd place check right there in Fairburn, Georgia. The cowboy tying up the win with an 8.7. He's the bad cat from Waycross, Georgia. The number 1 man in the SPRA standings right now, your 18-time world champion, Mr. Justin Thigpen, claiming championship right there at Mr. Bubba Oubre's Fairburn, Georgia Rodeo. We say congratulations to Justin. Guys, that cowboy never ceases to amaze me. On to our steer wrestling, an event that was invented by an African-American cowboy back in the 1800s, Mr. William Pickett, originally called bulldogging. Not necessarily because they dogged bulls, but because they came off the back of that quarter horse and they bit the cattle in the nose in the same fashion as a bulldog. Well, today we don't bite them in the nose. We wrestle steers, but fundamentally it is still the same event. In our steer wrestling, guys, these 2 veterans battle it out for number 1. The LaGrange, Georgia cowboy lays down a 5.0, a 5 flat for the 2nd place win there. He is Mr. Matt Oubre, the number 1 cowboy in the SPRA standings right now. The 1 cowboy that inched forward ahead of him with a very small margin. Once again, we go to Waycross, Georgia. We introduce you to your 18-time world champion, slamming down the victory with 4.2 9 seconds. Takes him down, gets the win there in Fairburn, Georgia. Congratulations to you, Justin Thigpen. Let's go to the dynamic duos of rodeo. Our headers and our heelers in the team roping. In the 4th place position, sneaking into the pay window, he's your number 7 Cowboy on the head side. Teams up with the number 1 man on the heel side, the big man from Calera, Alabama. Mr. Will Payton there, sawing the bones on the head side. Philip Kels making up the time on the back side. 7.6 gets them a 4th place paycheck. On to the 3rd place team, the attorney from Clanton, Alabama, Mr. Tom Kelly. He's spinning the steers on the head side for Blake Bentley. That team stretches one out in 7.4 seconds for a paycheck. The number 2 man, right there on the head side from Scooper, Mississippi, the one, the only, Mr. Wes Goody Goodrich. He teams up with Mr. Jeff Pierce, number 7 Cowboy on the heel side. 6.9 takes them to the pay window. It puts a 2nd place check in their pocket. I've already introduced you to him once in the 3rd place standings. Well, Tom Kelly, he is back. He also teamed up with the Cowboy he introduced you to in the 2nd place on the heel side, Mr. Jeff Pierce. Tom Kelly, number 8 in the standings. Jeff Pierce coming to us, number 7 in the SPRA standings. That team stretches one out for 6.7, captivates the win, goes to the house with all the money, and we say that's the way I like it. How about this? Let's go to the pretty cowgirls. Let's go to the lightning fast American quarter horses for a little horse racing rodeo style. Two hearts, 3 cans, 1 dream. The cowgirls and their equine athletes making it happen on the cloverleaf pattern. Fairburn, Georgia paid out 4 holes. Miss Shelby Braden, the number 11 cowgirl, comes to us in the SPRA standings. She lays down a smoking 14.072 to sneak there into the pay window. The cowgirl from Jasper, Alabama, the top 5 cowgirl in the standings. She rides a buckskin horse called Bucky, and they have been on fire this year, let me tell you. Miss Jessica Grace and Bucky get that 3rd place check, and they say, we'll put it in our pocket, and we'll accept it, and we're proud of it with that smoking 14.059. Morgan Feltham comes in and lays down a 13.976 to go to the 2nd place pay window. And then Miss Nicole Hale topples everybody over, gets around all 3 cans, stops the clock with a 13.925 for the win there in Fairburn, Georgia at your 2021 edition of the Chattahooche Hills Pro Rodeo. Guys, that's how everything happened. That was the end. That's how it all shook out over there. Mr. Bubba Oubre bringing you those exciting nuts and bolts rodeos to the SPRA. Man, my man Adam Gibbs on the mic, Trent McFarland keeping the funny going all weekend. It don't get any better than that. My name is Mike Ginn, and I live in Lexington, Mississippi. I want to say thank you for coming with me on the road with the SPRA. www.sprarodeo.net. Follow us right there. Follow us on Facebook. Go check out the schedule. Go check out the standings. See if we're coming to a town near you. And y'all come see us.